Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. We have another special guest here. Her name is LYNNE M. Doughtie. LYNNE sits on the board of Boeing. In fact, this video today is very poignant. It's going to educate you, LYNNE, as to what you're sitting on, because you need to know this because it's very important. Today, QA expert and Boeing shareholder Daryl Guberman educates Boeing board member LYNNE M. Doughtie. Yes, LYNNE. And let me just say this. Let me put her down real quick. I sent out certified mail, 11 of them, to the 11 board members. They received a document, 42 pages, for either the CEO or vice president of quality for Boeing. I figured the vice president would be the best fit for me other than the CEO. I feel that I could do better with my sleeves rolled up rather than sitting around listening to everybody complain. I'd rather be out on the floor assisting to make the product better, where you should be as the vice president. You just can't leave that to your senior management. You have to be down there showing the workers that you are and you care about what they're doing, because after all, they're paying for your salary. And this is a book that we sent, the booklet, but I'm going to bring LYNNE in, and this is what we heard when we received it. Now, this is back in July, but this is the sound that we heard from all 11 board members. Now we continue. LYNNE, please sit down. Now we're going to continue and educate you. I was there on April 17th as to support Sam Salapar, the whistleblower for Boeing, 777, 787. We have information that actually corroborates what he was saying. The two documents I have up show and illustrate that Boeing, released their on-site inspection for special processes like heat treat, welding, etc., to a piece of paper from Performance Review Institute. Number two, the second piece of paper, same time frame, because the special processes was April of 2002. In July of 2002, they came out with a procurement supplier bulletin that said if you're AS9100 certified, as long as it's ANSI ANAB accredited, send in your cert, send in your parts, just like they did with the special processes. Send in your cert, send in your parts, and we don't have to come to do on-site audits. I was also there watching David Calhoun, LYNNE, and we're going to continue on. In 2013, I gave a speech at the American Society for Quality. Mr. David Levy was there, and he was there in a sense to destroy me, because they don't want competition in the space of accreditation, especially my type of inspection, because we are pretty knowledgeable within the realm of aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where we dealt with every industry under the sun. Well, Dave Levy couldn't hammer away at me, so he said in the meeting, and we have it on audio tape as well if you want to see it, LYNNE, he said that ANAB has no problem with what we're doing. In fact, we do ISO certifications and all derivatives, LYNNE. He said, we have no problem with what you're doing. In fact, we support you, sir. In the middle, you see Randy Dory handing over leadership of the IF to this communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu. And Randy at the time was the vice president of ANAB, chairman and principal on the IF tax report. The IF, the International Accreditation Forum, is a association of accreditation bodies, both national and international, along with their sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. Zhao Jinwu has been involved with our quality since 1994. He is also, at this time, the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which we will get into very shortly. He was standing in Wuhan, China, the same WIV, Wuhan Institute of Virology, handing them a laboratory certificate. And we're going to continue on because we don't want to waste time. We will get to him later. We also have, on this side of the world, you have Randy. At the time, he was a technical advisor, but still the principal on the 990 tax firm for the IF. He had control over that. He's invited us to join, either join the IF or ANAB or both. But how could we, when you see a communist Chinese national who's handling this mess? Do you think I'm going to get involved with it? And especially, LYNNE, let me just tell you something. He's got, at the time, he had the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7, that mandated espionage. You think I'm going to be a schmuck? You got to be kidding me. Let's go continue on. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation that has federal agencies and corporations on board. Here's another picture of Randy handing over leadership to Zhao Junwu. If you didn't believe about the Wuhan, China, here is Zhao Junwu. And by the way, at the time, he was the chairman of the IF and the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services. In 2017, same year that he was in there issuing a certificate for a laboratory, a Miss Pamela Sale, the vice president, and here it is. Pamela Sale gave a deposition in Texas that said from one laboratory to another there are variances and they lack protocol. So basically, she confessed to the release of the COVID virus from this laboratory. On top of it, the scientists in 2018 from that lab were complaining about not having properly trained technicians or not having enough. To the United States, sent some technicians over, some scientists, and the scientists from Wuhan were crying, basically. We said, we need new technicians, we need more, we don't have enough. So basically, Zhao Junwu gave a quality certificate to a laboratory that was ill-prepared. On top of it, in a CDC document, Lynn, from May 2019, I think it was volume 25, it stated that any well-run bio-level 4 laboratory, the first line of containment is properly trained technicians. For those are the first line of containment because most of the releases happen from human error. And this is another one. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. You also have the factor that ANSI and ANAB are founders of the International Accreditation Forum, which I said was an association of accreditation bodies, national and international, and also their sister organization, ILAC, which is the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. They are underwriters. ANSI, ANAB are underwriters for all those bodies, IAF and ILAC, that sit on those organizations, which means they take care of all systematic or product failure. Here's Boeing. Boeing also sits on ANSI ANAB's board. They push down their suppliers and subcontractors' throats. This page, by the way, Lynn, they took off because I exposed the factor that on the Management System Accreditation Committee, Boeing sits, that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. For 22 years, Lynn, Boeing gave up on-site audits to special processes and also to parts and components being sent to them. In April of 2002, PRI, Performance Review Institute, was a special process certification. And then you have, in April of that same year, they came out with a supplier bulletin, which basically said if you're AS 9100, as long as you're ANSI ANAB accredited, just send in your parts, send in your certificates, send in your parts, and we don't have to do on-site audits. In 2009, Boeing was made an FAA regulator, which means they did not have to tell anyone about the MCAS system. At the time as well, they didn't have to tell anybody about new aircraft designs. In 2018-19, after the Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air crashed, the FAA FAA spokesperson came out and said at the bottom, he said that FAA never allows any company to police or self-certify. That's baloney. And here on their supplier portal, it calls for ANSI ANAB or international equivalent. You have the factor that Boeing was fudging documentation on the metal that was being put in their planes in 2017. We have more data. I'm sorry for the rush, but we want to finish this video so you understand this. The DOJ, DHS, FAA, and Boeing, they all sit together on ANSI ANAB's board, okay, the accreditation body of Boeing. You have the factor that they are not, here it goes, Department of Commerce, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, and FDA are all customers. They're not just members, they're customers of ANSI ANAB that they pay a fee for. What is that? 2021, it was almost $3 million. And then you have the factor, Lynn, you have the factor of Mr. Robert Kelly Oberg, who is the former CEO of Rockwell Collins, who was there when the MCAS system was designed, manufactured, and implemented. In 2021, he retired because I think the heat in the kitchen was getting a little bit too hot for him, because I'm sure, I don't know about the DHS if they were going to call him into inquisition with him, but as the CEO of the MCAS system, he never was. So he brings 348 people onto the shores of Boeing. 348 ghosts from the Ethiopian Air and Indonesian Air. That's a shame. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS @yahoo.com. I thank you, Lynn, for stopping in.